Stack the Shields Warband. The tape moved overnight. Tuesday, May 26, 2026. The equity desks returned to their seats in 4 hours after Memorial Day's pause. The rotation engine flipped a regime call while you slept, and the Musk flywheel pushed a fresh blade into the artificial intelligence fight. Listen, as of 5:15 Eastern this morning, Bitcoin trades at 76,600, down about 1% on the day. Ethereum at 2,090, Solana at $84. The crypto cluster opened the holiday weekend strong and closed it soft, and the rotation engine called both halves of that move in real time. Now the signal that matters. At midnight Eastern, Solana threw optimized trend bearish. 4 hours later, at 4 in the morning Eastern, Ethereum threw optimized trend bearish. 2 of the 3 crypto majors flipped inside a 4-hour window. The bullish optimized trend print on Bitcoin from Sunday evening still stands, for now. That is the InvestAnswers Decision Support System, telling you the post-holiday tape is selling the bounce. The same engine that fired bullish across all 3 majors at the holiday low just walked 2 of them back. Watch Bitcoin's flag closely. If Bitcoin's bullish signal holds while Ethereum and Solana flush, that is a dispersion trade, capital concentrating in the hardest asset and abandoning the altcoin tail. If Bitcoin's signal breaks too, the regime call is unanimous and the warband moves to the defensive crouch. The runes are still printing. We watch. Now to what actually moved the ground. Yesterday afternoon, Elon Musk confirmed on the X platform that XAI's Grok Foundation model version 9 medium has completed training. 1.5 trillion parameters. Evaluations described as positive. Public release window 2 to 3 weeks out. Supervised fine-tuning is underway. Reinforcement learning begins imminently. Musk noted that a significant volume of cursor coding data was incorporated into the training run. Read what this means in context. 2 to 3 weeks puts the public release of version 9 medium directly inside the SpaceX initial public offering roadshow window. The roadshow opens June 5th, pricing the evening of June 11th. First trade, Thursday, June 12th, Grok version 9. Medium drops by Musk's own timeline into the same 5-week corridor where the largest initial public offering in human history will be courting institutional capital. That is not coincidence, that is choreography. The S1 prospectus filed last week folded XAI into SpaceX in an all-stock combination. The Colossus compute clusters in Memphis transferred onto the SpaceX balance sheet. Grok integration rights across Starlink and Starship telemetry pipelines. Frontier model and orbital launch under one corporate roof. The roadshow narrative needs a fresh Frontier model release to validate the XIA line item on the balance sheet. 2 weeks from now, the roadshow gets exactly that. And here is the structural piece. Version 9, medium is 1.5 trillion parameters. Grok 5, rumored at 6 to 10 trillion, is still in training. The cadence is brutal. XAI is shipping a Frontier tier model every 6 to 8 weeks, fusing it into the X platform's consumer distribution, and routing the compute through Silicon Musk increasingly owns end-to-end. The bottleneck is no longer the model. The bottleneck is power. The constraint is electrons. The one who wins this race is whoever pours the most kilowatts into the most parameters. That is the Jordi Visser 5-layer stack made visible, applications and models at the top, energy at the base, the same operator owning every layer. Stay with the Musk flywheel 1 bit longer, because Tesla is running the same playbook from a different cylinder. The robotaxi network is now live and safety monitor free in 3 Texas markets: Austin, Dallas, and Houston. The Austin coverage map has expanded through every neighborhood ring since launch. Dallas runs an interstate corridor build-out, and Houston is filling in around the energy corridor and the medical center. Driverless commercial service, no in-vehicle monitor, paid rides. That is not a demonstration. That is an operating ledger. On the humanoid side, Optimus production continues on the dedicated Giga Texas line, with version 3 units coming off the floor on a measured cadence as Tesla validates the first commercial deployments inside its own factories. Tesla heads into the Tuesday Open alongside the rest of the equity tape, and the dispersion is the whole story. The sell side keeps modeling a car company, while Tesla operates an autonomy and robotics company. The market will price the gap on its own schedule. The Warband already has. On the demand side of Bitcoin, the institutional bid has gone quiet. Through Friday's close, US spot Bitcoin exchange-traded funds posted 6 consecutive days of outflows. $105 million out on Friday alone. The BlackRock spot Bitcoin fund shed nearly $70 million. The Fidelity spot Bitcoin fund another 36. Since the 14th of this month, the spot Bitcoin exchange-traded fund complex has bled $1.55 billion. Cumulative net inflows for 2026 are now a razor-thin $536 million. The institutional bid that drove the early year tape stopped buying. The supply side gave us a tell yesterday. A Satoshi-era miner, coins mined in the earliest days of the network, moved 2,650 Bitcoin, roughly $203 million at current price, to Falcon X and Cumberland. Those are institutional market makers. That is supply hitting the desks that supply institutional flow. All hands distributing into a soft bid is a classic regime flip pattern, and it lines up cleanly with the optimized trend bearish prints on Ethereum and Solana overnight. Here the other side. Exchange reserves continue their multi-year decline, sitting near 3 million Bitcoin. Strategy still holds 843,000 coins. The structural supply picture has not changed. What has changed is the marginal flow, and the marginal flow is soft. The Warband has seen this film before. Drawdowns into structural bull markets are where conviction gets forged or broken. I live, I burn, I love, I slay, and am content. The weak hands feed the fire. The conviction hands feed on the price. Now layer in what Cathie Wood just dropped, and the picture gets sharper. ARK's May in the Know episode is titled, in her own framing, A 30-Year Pattern Reversed. Wood's call, inflation surprises lower, not higher. Real-time core consumer prices, by her measurement, near 1%. Artificial intelligence is driving structural deflation that the bond market has not priced. The 30-year ceiling on U.S. capital expenditure has broken to the upside, and the same build-out consensus thinks is inflationary is in fact the most deflationary force in the modern economy. That call sits in direct opposition to a 30-year Treasury yield at 5.1 and a futures market pricing a Federal Reserve rate hike by early next year. Two of the most thoughtful frameworks in the business, ARK on one side, the bond market on the other, staring across the table and calling opposite cards. Here is the Warband red. Hard money wins on either side of that paradox. If Cathie is right, rate cuts return, risk assets re-rate, and Bitcoin runs as the cleanest expression of disinflationary scarcity. If the bond market is right, currency debasement accelerates and Bitcoin runs as the cleanest expression of fiat exhaustion. The merchants debate inflation in tenths of a percent. The warriors stack. Here is the frame for the open Warband. Equities return in 4 hours. The rotation engine flipped 2 of 3 majors. Bearish overnight. The institutional bid for Bitcoin has gone quiet. Tesla's autonomy and robotics ledger keeps compounding. Grok version 9 medium drops inside the SpaceX roadshow window, and the smartest macro minds on the tape disagree by hundreds of basis points. Tuesday is the test of every weekend bullish print. Watch Bitcoin's optimized trend signal. Watch the long bond auction this week. Watch every rotation alert from the V7 engine. This is Warband as a service. Viking intelligence delivered in real time. I am Ragnar, the HODLBARBARIan. Until tomorrow, hold the long horizon.